So, how's your day going aside from rushing around, being on tour, and everyone wanting to talk to you today?
Yeah, that's right about that because today's my birthday. So yeah, everybody's
Oh,
trying to talk to me, and I'm getting all kinds of messages and everything. Yeah, it's great.
so I have the pleasure of speaking with you on your birthday. So, getting the housekeeping out of the way, new
Yes.
Fishbone album. When did you actually finish it?
It's been finished for a while. It's been finished like a few months back, and I just can't wait for everybody to hear it because it's great songs on this record.
Sure. When I saw the band about a year ago with
Mm-hmm.
Madness in New York City, I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember hearing any of the songs from this record on there. So it sounds like you were keeping it quiet that Fishbone had a new record.
Yeah, yeah, and I think when that tour was over, that's when they really dove into it and tried to get it done. Because then they would still had Mark Phillips was in the band at the time too. And I saw some of those videos and I thought they were great. And I sent Mark a message and I told him how great I thought the band was. And now you guys got to record, you got to do a record with this lineup. I swear to you, 2 days later, he said he was leaving the band. So
Wow.
I called Angelo and I said, hey, man, we had a great time when I was in the band 20 years ago. If you need me, I'm here. So he said, I'll get back to you. About an hour later, he called me back and he said, we need you, man.
Wow, that was going to be one of my questions about how the comeback
Mm-hmm.
happened, and it was as simple as just a call to Angelo.
Yep. Yep. Because him and I always had a great time in Fishbone.
Right.
You know?
So one thing I'm curious about, I knew about Sound Barrier, and then I
Uh-huh.
saw you in that documentary,
Which
Charvel
one?
Gang.
Oh, yes, Charvel Gang. Yes.
Loved that documentary. I think that more people should know about the roots of those guitars and all that. But I
Yes.
would have to imagine you're the only member of Fishbone who likes those kinds of bands that play Charvel guitars. Am I wrong about that?
Yes, you are. I
Okay.
can honestly tell you there's two other guys in the band that ever since Fishbone was together, they were the rock guys, and that's Chris Dow and Kendall Jones. They were the
Wow.
they were the rock guys. And they still are. So me and Chris and I are having a ball right now. See,
Yeah. So
because
that's
go ahead.
to rudely interrupt you. You have such a fascinating past where you've been in every kind of genre band over the years that you're such a versatile guitar player that you're kind of hard to pigeonhole. And I promise this is going to be a question
Okay.
in that you can shred, but then you can
Yes.
also do the ska thing, but you can
Yes.
also do the funk thing.
Yes.
How have you been able to do that? Did you study in a conservatory early on?
And no, sir. It's all by ear. It's all a feeling. You know what I mean? And it's like I think I come from a musical family.
Hmm.
So pretty much. So I think I was, and I'm not, this is no egotistical anything. I'm not an egotistical person whatsoever, but I just think I was born with that. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I come from a musical family. So when I started learning guitar, it was easy in the
Hmm.
beginning. I mean, it got more difficult later on in life, but at first it was easy. I mean, I knew how to play before I could tell you the notes I was playing, you know?
Oh, got it. So when you rejoined Fishbone for this round, how many
Uh-huh.
of the songs did you already know how to play versus you had to pick up?
That's a great question. Well, most of the catalog I knew from 22 years ago.
Hmm.
These were all brand new songs. So when I came back into the band, the songs were already written. So my job was to accommodate what Angelo and Chris needed from the guitar parts of the song. So they composed all the parts that I'm playing on guitar,
Hmm.
except for the solos.
Except for
They
the
I wanted
solos.
to play what they wanted me to play because the Stockholm Syndrome album is their therapy album because they went through a lot before this lineup came about.
Yeah.
And this is the one that's going to help them get rid of some of that musical baggage that was holding them down so we can move forward. And that's why the record's called Stockholm Syndrome.
Sure. So this upcoming round of dates with Less Than Jake, while it's a ska band, it's the exact opposite kind of ska band as Madness. What does
Hmm.
the set list look like? Because you have a new record, but it's also a younger crowd. Is it a mix
Yes,
of old and new?
yes, yes. We're doing like 3, 4 songs from the new record, and then all the ones that they call the hits. You know,
So,
and you know what I wanted to say too, we tailor our sets around the audiences that we play to. Like a few months back, we did the open for tour in the Dominican Republic, and we did just the strict metal set, the rock set.
oh,
No,
in
yeah, yep, yep, you got it. Only Scott. We did Party at Ground Zero. That was it. But everything else was metal and punk rock.
that was the Tool Primus Festival you're talking
Yes,
about?
yes.
Had you ever played live in the Dominican Republic before that?
No, that was my first time, and it was outstanding. I loved
Yeah.
it.
So at this point in your career, it seems like you never know what gigs are going to come up. By that, I mean, there's rock cruises. That wasn't a thing 20 years ago.
Right,
There's a
you're
lot
right.
more package tours of like 80s bands when you're not really an 80s band. There's a lot more corporate gigs we don't know about, etc. Is
Yes,
Fishbone in this situation where there's like 5 or 6 different kinds of shows you could do, but you're ready for all of them?
yes. I can honestly say yes. And we've been talking about that too, talking about like doing a reggae or ska shows and just doing the reggae and ska material, doing more rock shows and just doing the rock stuff, doing funk shows and just doing the funk stuff, you know. And
Well,
I'm really proud of that band that we can do that.
well, in your case, with those possibilities being out there, do you have to take different rigs and different sets of equipment on the road just in case, or does everything
No,
play through the pedal board?
it's the same. We could use the same gear. And it's funny that you say through the pedal board because for this particular run, I'm not using any pedals whatsoever. And it's funny because 20 years ago, I had the biggest pedal board you can imagine, you know, but this
Yeah.
time we got Chris to play keyboard. So I'm gonna have a pedal board eventually, but right now I'm just picking and choosing because there's so many pedals nowadays. You know, and I have a Kemper as well, but I don't know what kind of pedals I want to use yet. I just want them to be really unique and have some pretty crazy sounds, you know?
Well, if not having a pedal board, does that mean that you're using what are those called pod amps?
No, I'm using a Mesa Boogie triple rectifier. That's it. The clean
Wasn't
channel, rhythm channel, and lead channel.
Weren't you originally a Mesa Boogie guy and then you've come back full circle to Mesa Boogie?
Yeah. Well, as far as in Fishbone, yes. Yes.
Got
But
it.
in Sound Barrier, I was using Marshalls.
Marshalls and Charvels.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yep. Yep.
in terms of the Charvels, do you have any of that old equipment from back in the day
I
still?
wish I did. No, I don't. Right now, though, I can tell you this. I'm starting to get a bunch of brand new equipment because I have a guitar builder from Canada, and my latest guitar is called a Boyer Black Widow. And I don't know if you've seen any pictures of it yet, but it's fascinating. It's awesome. And I'm going to be strictly, for the most part, playing Boyer guitars, but I have a couple other ones I use as backups. But I'm in love with these Boyer guitars, and I'm having another one built as we speak right now.
So you're still a gearhead all these years
Oh,
later.
for sure, I will always be.
So all I know about you, Tracey, is the music, the great
Mhm.
years of music and all that. What's your main hobby or passion when you're not on the road or doing sessions?
That's an excellent question. My passion when I'm not doing sessions and playing is teaching kids. And me and my fiance, Lisa Marie, have been teaching kids for the last 20 years, and we teach rock band classes
Oh, wow.
in the school system.
In the school
Yeah,
system
yeah.
of
After
Los Angeles
school,
County?
yes, they have after school programs, and we come in and teach them how to play, how to do rock songs, and then we teach them from scratch. And then we pick the songs, and at the end of the year, we do a big concert.
So what are the kids learning right now? Are you allowed to say?
Well, yeah. Well, what happened was we just got done because now they're on summer break. But we were doing you know, just songs that they can grasp pretty easy. One of the songs was The Middle by Jimmy Eats World that we do. And it depends on how good the kids get, how more complicated the music gets. But we start them off with simple stuff. Like Lisa and I wrote a song. Actually, she wrote a song called Friend that we play 2 chords. And with all our students that we've taught for the last 20 years, we play that song and they all have their own interpretations of it. And it's all great.
Well, going back to the middle by Jimmy Eat World, did one of the students play that shred guitar solo in the middle, or is that your job?
That's my job. You know,
That's a
but we're
hard
working
solo.
on it. They're getting there though. You know, but at first, like if they can't play the solos, I do the solos, but we teach them all the guitar parts. I teach guitar, bass, and keyboards. And then my fiance takes care of the vocalists and the drummers because she's a drummer as well, which makes me want to come into tell you about my band that we have together called Praise the Dead. If you look that up on Facebook, we have a power duo and it's
Power
pretty
duo.
heavy metal. And she's the drummer and the vocalist, and I play 8-string guitar.
Praise the Dead. Okay.
Yes, yes.
And do you also have a cover band, or did you have a cover band over the years?
Not really. The cover bands that we have are with the kids, you know, but I do have a fusion band that I work with. One of my bass heroes, his name is Tony Newton, and he played bass on all the early Motown classics, and he did the live touring with the Motown Reviews. And then a few years after that, he joined Tony Williams in the new Tony Williams Lifetime, and Alan Holdsworth was the guitarist. And then a few years after that, he joined the band G-Force with another one of my favorite guitarists, Gary Moore.
Wow. Okay.
So,
I have to
yes.
rudely interrupt you right there because
Mhm.
I love Motown, but I always thought that James Jamerson played bass on everything.
Nope,
But
if it wasn't Jamerson, it was Tony Newton. Because
wow.
they tried to keep Tony, Jamerson, I mean, home in the studio because he was the guy. So anytime they did that, going out on the reviews on the tours, Tony would be the bass player. Him and James Jamerson were best friends.
Wow. Okay. I just learned a lot about history right there. And then you
Mhm.
mentioned somebody playing with Gary Moore from UFO and Thin Lizzy and all that. That Gary Moore?
Yes, that Gary Moore. Yeah, let's
So,
look up G-Force. Tony Newton was the bass player, and he wrote a few of the songs too.
okay. So this comes back to the original thing that we were talking about where when Spacey T is playing on something, you don't know what genre or what volume level it's going to be. Because
Right.
I'm hearing classic rock and modern rock covers with kids. I'm hearing fusion. I'm
Yep.
hearing your metal duo. And then
Yep.
Fishbone is, of course, 12 different genres.
Yeah. 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 And
So,
I love to keep it that way. I just love music in general. So any style of music that catches my ear, I gotta learn it. And it's gotta be authentic too. I mean, I even played neoclassical fusion. When Ingve came out, I figured out a lot of those harmonic minor scales in
yeah,
my tuning. Because I play in a open D tuning, like Robert Johnson.
like Robert Johnson.
Exactly.
Oh,
So I'm bringing Robert Johnson style of tuning into today's world. Everything you've ever heard me play guitar on is in open D tuning.
wow. I,
Everything.
okay, I'm used to hearing about drop D, not
Yeah,
open
this is
D.
open D. D A D F sharp A D.
Jeez.
So
Well,
when the 8-string, right? When I play 8-string, it's D A D A D A sharp F sharp A D. I mean,
so meaning if somebody wants to jam and they just pick up your guitar, they're going to know in 2 seconds.
that they can't play
Yeah.
it.
That's
But
how you
check
keep your
this out.
job.
I can tell you something really funny.
Please.
This is my first time in the band with Chris Dow. Because when I was in Fishbone 20 years ago, he wasn't in the band.
Sure.
So when we started talking on the phone, you know, he was telling me that he played guitar. And then when I went to Oakland, because that's where the band was based when I was recording the album in Oakland, and then we recorded the album in San Francisco at Hyde Street Studios. That's a pretty famous studio.
Yeah.
But in the studio, they had all these guitars hanging on the walls and stuff. And they said Chris would take the guitars down and he has some weird tuning that he tunes the guitars in. And I was like, wow, so what tuning is that? I wonder. I pick up the guitar and lo and behold, it's open D tuning.
So someone else did that.
So Chris and I play in the same tuning. And I said, well, I'm your guitar teacher now. Because he's a great guitarist, but there's a lot more I could show him to get it even better, you know?
Sure. Well, I have one more question for you, and I don't know if it gets a 10-second answer, like a no, or if it gets a 5-minute diatribe.
Okay.
But it seems like everyone who is a more than capable guitar player had a Kiss audition and a David Lee Roth audition. I know about your Almost Ozzy audition because that's in the
Yes.
Charvel
Yes.
documentary. But was there
Yes.
almost ever a Kiss and or David Lee Roth audition?
You know, that's really strange that you say that. I can get close to the David Lee Roth one. There was a Sammy Hagar audition.
Oh, so you were up for Vic's job?
Yeah, well, I'm the one that recommended Vic because Victor used
Wow.
to be in Sound Barrier.
Yes.
So what happened was they needed somebody that was able to play slide, bottleneck slide. And I don't really play bottleneck slide. I play slide on my tremolo bar like Pat Thrall, you know, from Automatic Man. And like Pat Thrall is one of my favorite guitarists of all time. And he plays with his tremolo, and it sounds just like he sounds like Dwayne Allman with his tremolo bar.
Sure.
So I had to cop that. You know?
So Vic has you to thank for about 20-ish years of employment.
Yeah, yeah, and he's still there killing it.
See,
I
didn't
just
know.
have one thing about that made me upset though.
Sure.
Because when Victor was with Sound Barrier, right? He
Yeah.
knew Eddie Van Halen music upside down. He sounds exactly like Eddie Van Halen, right? So when Sammy put this project together, I was hoping he was going to get Vic to do it. And the fact that Vic is playing with Michael Anthony, I was like, yes, that's where he's supposed to be, you know? Because right after I didn't get the Sammy audition, a week later I was in Fishbone. You know, but he got Joe Satriani instead of using Vic because Vic could do it.
Vic can do it. I've seen it
Yes.
live, and Vic can do
Yes.
it. The reason I was asking if there was a Roth audition is you find out that every musician seemed to have had 2 or 3 meetings with him, and then never found out that they didn't get it. It's just they
Right.
didn't get another call. And somebody told me that Eric Gale like almost had an audition for Dave.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
And that would have been in the Jason Becker era when he was looking.
Yes.
So I thought that Dave would have been a Fishbone fan, but then again, you were, I don't know the timeline. The bottom line
Yes.
is you've been around.
Well, check this out. Back in the day when Sound Barrier did their last concert at the Palladium, David Lee Roth came to see us. And there's a picture of Bernie Kay and I with David Lee Roth.
So
And
it
Steve
all
Vai's
does.
lurking in the background. You can see Steve Vai in the background.
So maybe they were checking you out. Either
Yeah.
way, you didn't
Well,
want
you
that
know,
gig.
I can tell you this. I know Steve Vai was checking me out because in the old Charvel ads, he's standing right behind me in the Charvel ad.
I didn't make that connection.
Yep.
Tracey, you're like the Forrest Gump of amazing guitar greats of LA. So thank
Wow,
you
thanks.
for
That
the
means a lot,
decades
man.
of great art. And looking forward to checking out the band that you have with your girl. Congrats on this new Fishbone record, and looking forward to seeing you guys here on Long Island in the near future.
Yes. Please come to a show, man. Come hang out with us.
Paltrocast.